I'm live. Today is the 26th of December 2025 and I'm reading Travels with My Aunt. It's a novel by Greene. It was published in 1969. He meets his Aunt Augusta after 50 years at his mother's funeral. And his Aunt Augusta is a traveller and she suggests travelling to Paris. Anyway, from there they want to go to Istanbul. We are now in chapter 12 and I continue. We were just pulling out of Lausanne when I awoke. I could see the lake between two tall grey apartment buildings, and there was a tasteful advertisement for chocolates, and then another for watches. There was a conductor who had woken me, bringing me coffee and brioche. I had asked for croissants. "Is the lady in 72 awake?" I asked. "She did not wish to be disturbed before Milan," he replied. "Is it true that there is no restaurant car?" "Yes, monsieur." "At least you will give us breakfast tomorrow?" "No, monsieur. I leave the train at Milan. There is another conductor." "Italian?" "Yugoslav, monsieur." "Does he speak English or French?" It is not likely. I felt hopelessly abroad. I drank my coffee and then, from the corridor, I watched the small Swiss towns roll smoothly by. The Montreux Palace in Baroque Edwardian, like the home of a Ruritanian king, and rising behind it out of a bank of morning mist, pale mountains, like an underexposed negative. A. Bex, Visp. We stopped at nearly every station, but it was seldom that anyone either got in or not, or out. Like my aunt, foreign passengers were not interested in Switzerland without snow, and yet it was here that I was seriously tempted to leave her. I had £50 of traveller's checks and I had no interest at all in Turkey. I caught glimpses of meadows running down to water, of old castles on hills spiked with vines, and of girls on bicycles. Everything seemed clean and arranged, and safe, as my life had been before my mother's funeral. I thought of my garden. I missed my dahlias, and at some small station, a bed of mauve and red flowers, I think it might really have been off. I think I might really have got off it. The girl called Tootsie hadn't at that moment touched my arm. Was there anything so wrong with a love of peace that I had to be forcibly drawn away from it by Aunt Augusta? "Did you sleep well?" Thule asked. "Oh yes, and you?" I hardly slept a wink. Her Pekingese eyes stared up at me as though she were waiting for something from my plate. I offered her a brioche, but she refused it. "Oh no, thanks a lot. I've had a chocolate bar." "Why couldn't you sleep?" "I'm sort of worried." I remembered from my cashier days faces just as timid as hers, peering through a hygienic barrier where a notice directed them to speak through a slit placed inconveniently low. I almost asked her whether she had an overdraft. "Anything I can do?" "I just want to talk," she said. What could I do but invite her in? My bed had been made into a sofa while I stood in the corridor, and we sat down side by side. I offered her a cigarette. It was an ordinary senior service, but she turned it over as though it were something special she had never seen before. "English?" she asked. "Yes." "What does senior service mean?" "The Navy." "You don't mind, do I, if I smoke one of my own?" She took a tin marked eucalyptus and menthol lozenges out of her bag and picked from it an anonymous cigarette, which looked as though it had been home-rolled. On second thoughts, she offered me one, and I thought it would be a little unkind of me to refuse. It was a very small cigarette, and it looked rather grubby. It had an odd herbal flavour, not disagreeable. I've never smoked an American cigarette before, I said. I got these in Paris from a friend. Our French ones. He was a terribly nice man, groovy. Who was? This man I met in Paris. I told him my troubles too. What is your trouble? I had a quarrel with my boyfriend, He wanted to go third class to Istanbul. I said, it's crazy. We couldn't sleep together in the third class, and I've got the money, haven't I? Your stinking allowance, he said. Sell all you have and give it to the poor. That's a quotation, isn't it, from somewhere? I said, it wouldn't be any use. Father would pay me back. He need never know, he said. He has sources of information, I said. He's very high up, in the CIA. He said, you can stick your money up your arse. That's an English expression, isn't it? He's English. We met when we were sitting down in Trafalgar Square. Feeding the pigeons, I asked. She gave a bubble of laugh and choked on a smoke. You are ironic, she said. I like men who are ironic. My father's ironic too. You're a bit like him when I come to think of it. Irony is a very valuable literary quality too, isn't it? Like passion. You mustn't ask me about literature, Miss Tooley, I said. I'm very ignorant. Don't call me Miss Tooley. Tooley's what my friends call me. At Saint-Maurice, a gang of schoolgirls passed down the platform. They were nice-looking schoolgirls. Not one of them wore a miniskirt or visible makeup, and they carried neat little satchels. How can such a beautiful country be so dull? Tooley thought aloud. Why dull? They aren't turned on here, she said. None of them will ever be turned on. Would you like another cigarette? Thank you, they are very mild, agreeable flavour too. They don't rasp the throat. I do like the expressions you use. They really are groovy. I felt more awake than I usually do at that hour of the morning, and I found Tooley's company something of a novelty. I was glad that my aunt was sleeping late and giving me an opportunity to get better acquainted. I felt protective. I would have liked a daughter, though I had never been able to imagine Miss Keene as a mother. A mother should not be in need of protection herself. This friend of yours in Paris, I said, was he a very good judge of cigarettes? He was fabulous, she said. He's really together. French? Oh no, he came from darkest Africa. A Negro? We don't call them that, she said reprovingly. We call them coloured or black, whichever they prefer. A sudden suspicion struck me. Was he called Wordsworth? I only knew him as Zack. That's the man. Was it you he came to see off at the station? Sure, who else? I never expected him, but there he was at the gate to say goodbye. I bought him a platform ticket, but I think he was scared. He wouldn't come any further. He knows my aunt too, I said. I didn't tell her that he had used her ticket for another purpose. Now, isn't that the wildest sort of coincidence, like something in Thomas Hardy? You seem to know a lot about literature. I'm majoring in English literature, she said. My father wanted me to take social science because he wanted me to serve a while in the Peace Corps, but I guess our ideas didn't coincide in that and other things. What does your father do? I told you, he has a very secret job in the CIA. That must be interesting, I said. He travels about A terrible lot. I haven't seen him more than once since Mum divorced him last fall. I tell him he sees the world horizontally. I mean, that's superficial, isn't it? I want to see the world vertically. In depth, I said. I was rather proud of catching up with her ideas. These help, she said, waving her cigarette. I feel a bit turned on already. It's your fabulous way of talking. I feel I sort of met you in the English literature course as a character. We did Dickens in depth. Vertically, I said, and we laughed together. What's your name? Henry. She laughed again, and I followed suit. I was not sure why. I didn't even call you Harry, she asked. Harry is the diminutive. One cannot be baptized Harry. There was never a Saint Harry. Is that what they call canon law? I believe so. Because I knew a fabulous guy once who was baptized knocked me down. I doubt if he was really baptized that. Are you a Roman Catholic? No, but I believe my aunt is one. I'm not quite sure though. I nearly became a Roman Catholic once because of the Kennedys. But then when two of them got shot, I'm superstitious. Was Macbeth a Catholic? It's not a question that's ever occurred to me. I suppose, I don't really know. It seems to me that I was picking up her phrases. Maybe we ought to lock the door and open the window, she said. What country are we in now? I think we must be coming near to the Italian frontier. Then open the window quick. I couldn't follow her reasoning, but I obeyed. I had already finished my cigarette, and she tossed away her stump, and then emptied the ashtray onto the line. Then I remembered Wordsworth. What have we been smoking? I said. Pot, of course. Why? Do you realize we could be sent to prison? I don't know the Swiss law or the Italian, but I wouldn't be. I'm underage. And me? You could plead innocence, she said, and began to laugh. She was laughing when the door opened and the Italian police looked in. Passports, they demanded, but they didn't even open them. Then the draft of the open window blew off one of the man's cap, and I could only hope the smell of cannabis had dispersed down the corridor. They were followed closely by the customs men, who were equally considerate, except that one man wrinkled his nose. A few minutes later they were safely back on the platform. The sign read, Domodossola. We're in Italy, I said. Then have another. I'll do no such thing, Tully. I had no idea. For goodness sake, get rid of them before night. Yugoslavia is a communist country, and they won't hesitate to imprison someone underage. I was always taught that Yugoslavs were good communists. We sell them strategic material, don't we? But not drugs, I said. Now you're being ironical again. I wanted to tell you my great trouble, but how can I do it if you are ironical? You said just now that irony was a valuable literary quality. But you aren't a novel, she said, and began to cry as Italy went by outside. The cannabis had caused the laughter, and now I suppose it caused the tears. I felt a little unhappy myself, watching her. My hat swam. I shut the window and saw through the pane a hill village, all yellow and ochre, like something grown of itself out of rain and earth, and beside the line a factory, and a red housing estate, and an autostrada, and an advertisement for Perugino, and all the wires and gates of a smokeless age. What's your trouble, Tully? I asked. I forgot the damn pill, and I haven't had the curse for 6 weeks. I nearly talked to your mother last night. My aunt, I corrected her. You ought to speak to her. I don't really know about these things. But I want to talk to a man, Tully said. I mean, I'm sort of shy of women. I don't get on terms with them that fast, the way I do with men. The trouble is, men are so ignorant now. In the old days, a girl never knew what to do, and now it's the men who don't know. Julian said it was my fault. He trusted me. Julian is the boyfriend, I asked. He was angry because I forgot the pill. He wanted to hitchhike to Istanbul. He said it might do the trick. I thought he wanted to go 3rd class. That was before I told him, and before he met a man with a truck going to Vienna. Then he gave me an ultimatum. We were in this cafe in the Place de Saint-Michel, and he said, we've got to leave now or never. And I said no, and he said, find your own fucking way then. Where is he now? Somewhere between here and Istanbul. How will you find him? They'll know at the Guran. What's that? It's near the Blue Mosque. Everyone knows where everyone is at the Gulan. She began to remove carefully the traces of tears. Then she looked at her huge watch with the 4 numbers and said, it's nearly lunchtime. I'm as hungry as a dog. I hope I'm not feeling too. Want some chocolate? I'll wait until Milan, I said. Have another cigarette? No, thank you. So I'm going to make a break here and continue this chapter soon. Bye-bye.